Well, hello, everybody. I am Russell Tomlinson, and we want to welcome you to a very exciting broadcast tonight because we are here to let you in on what's about to happen February the 10th and the 11th. It is called LoveStyle, of course, 2023. Last year, we had this conference live right here in Atlanta. And lately, there's been so many mishaps in travel and the airport. And we just decided, you know what? It would be great just to bring Love Style into everybody's home and you can enjoy Love Style in the comfort of your home. That's what we are doing here. And so we want to give all of you guys that's coming on, we want you to come on and we're going to just start recognizing those in a few minutes. We have a few viewers right now, and more are coming on. But we are excited about Love Style. Let me tell you what is going on here. We have a strategy that we want to share with you, and that strategy is going to help you in whatever status you are in. I just put out a short not so long ago, and one of the things that we're talking about is there are people that seeking to change their strategy, but they don't, I'm sorry, their status, but they don't have a strategy. Well, our purpose is not only to recognize your status, but give you a strategy in that status. So this is Love Style 2023. We are ready to go. I see some names coming, and I see Wellington. Hey, Wellington, how you doing, man? Thank you for joining us, and we are glad that you're with us. And this is going to be worth your time. I'm sure that there are more that's coming on. I hear some notifications that's popping on right now, and I want you guys to come on as soon as possible. Tweet somebody, text somebody, contact somebody, give them a call, and let them know that we are on the air and we're going to give you some insights concerning Love Style. Hey, Nigel, I see you, man. It's good to have you. It's good to have Nigel with us. And we're looking forward, man, to sharing some information with you, some insight, some revelation that's going to give you a strategy for all of your relationships. We got some special guests coming up, but I want to take time to at least give you guys a little bit of time to come on before we go to those guests. So listen, reach out to somebody, share this, let people know somehow, contact them and let them know that we're on the air like this. And that helps to get the word out because I guarantee you, everything that we're going to be talking about is going to benefit every listener because we're dealing with something that everybody has to deal with, and that is relationships. Everybody has to deal with the issue of relationships. That's how we grow. We grow in relationships. You can't be isolated. You got to learn how to navigate relationships so that you can begin to grow. Well, this is why we are excited about Love Style. That's why I'm getting ready to bring on some awesome, powerful guests. But we want a few more of you to chime in and just put your name in the chat box. We want to just recognize those of you that's on with us right now. And again, we want you to like, we want you to share, we want you to invite somebody and get them in on this conversation and share this information. Well, I know that everybody needs some type of insight when it comes to relationships, and it's something that any and everybody can use. Do yourself a favor and be a blessing to somebody else. What you make happen for others, God is going to make it happen for you. And that's why we want to encourage you to come on in, come on. And not only give us your name, but take time to tell us where you are looking from, listening from. We want to see how far our reach is and make sure that We are reaching out to everybody that is possible. And that's why this is so important. So excited about our guests tonight. We're going to introduce them. In fact, they've got a subject matter that they're going to be dealing with uh, in February, the 10th and the 11th. And I'm still getting these dates together in my mind. But February, I wish it were this month, but it's February the 10th and the 11th. We've got some people right now that's ready to go. And I want to continue. Oh, it's good to see Lestine. How you doing, Lestine? It's always good to see you. I am so excited about what God is doing in Lestine Bell's life. I mean, an awesome ministry. She's dedicated her life to so many ladies that's in the kingdom, and we're standing in faith with her. Some more of you, come on, so we can recognize you, because we want you to know that everything that we're going to deal with tonight, you are going to be spoken to prophetically. God's going to speak to the issues, how you can go about having relationships that are powerful, that are productive, that are prosperous. That's what God wants. Hey, Lisa, it's good to have you also. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Lisa. Always good to see you on the line. And of course, there are more that's coming, more that's coming. Come on, guys. Come on. We want more of you to reach out to somebody, share this real fast, share it, because we only have a few precious minutes that we're going to share with our guests. You'll be able to see more of Ryan and Viktoriya Cole. They'll be on LoveStyle Breakfast, which is going to be that Saturday morning. And this couple is an awesome couple, especially in the area of relationships. You've got to hear what God is speaking to this couple and what it is they're going to share with us tonight. So I am really super excited. You know, I've listened to Ryan Cole's ministry for years, and this young man has a revelation about the gospel, about the word, about the kingdom. He's an awesome preacher. And right next to him, of course, is his life partner, Viktoriya. She has her own, she's a minister in her own right. And that's why when they team up together, something explosive takes place. Together, they are dunamis. And if you know anything about the word, the Greek word dunamis, it's really all about dynamite. Together, they are dynamite. So I'm ready to bring them on right now. Let's introduce Ryan and Viktoriya Cole. Hey guys, it is good to have you, and I'm excited to have this conversation as we give people somewhat an idea of what's going to take place on the 11th of February when we do the interview and your teaching. And what is it concerning? Intentional intimacy. To tell you the truth, for me, that subject is powerful because it shows us that intimacy has to be intentional.
Mhm.
So, Ryan, listen, give us a roll in, man. Give us some idea of how you guys are going to go about dealing with this very important, needful subject.
Well, Bishop Tomlinson, we are so excited to be a part of LoveStyle 2023. This is going to be a phenomenal event. And I want everybody watching right now to make sure you're registered for this event. We've shared this on all of our pages. We have a marriage ministry that we started a few years ago that God is blessing, and I'm inviting all of them in as well. It's going to be an incredible time. And like you said, we're going to be focusing on the topic of intentional intimacy. But what is intimacy? Intimacy is based on information. And the
Oh,
more information that you have, the more intimate you become. It's not
wow.
just about sex, it's about knowledge. And I think so many of us in marriage become arrogant about how much we know about our spouse. And no matter how long you've been married, there's still more in the treasure reserves of your spouse that is yet to be unearthed. And you have to stay enrolled at the university of your spouse and be intentional about learning them through every season of life.
Hey,
Yeah,
Hey Ryan, I'm taking notes, man. So you have to excuse my interruption, but I just love that thought that you just shared. That intimacy is not simply about sex; it's about knowledge. That's powerful.
yeah.
That's powerful. Go on. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I want you guys to have the floor.
Yeah, and really that's where the best sex begins. It begins not in the bedroom, but it begins in learning about who your spouse is in every season of life. The first revelation that God gave us about marriage was through the tabernacle of Moses. And he took us there and he says, if this was a design for for me to get back in fellowship with my bride, because we're the bride of Christ, wouldn't it also be a blueprint for how you should date and marry? And if you know anything about the tabernacle of Moses, is the outer court, the inner court, and the most holy place. And it's a journey of learning the depths of a person, both spiritually, that's the outer court, soulfully, that's the inner court, and then physically, which is the most holy place. The
Wow.
thing about the tabernacle is only the high priest can enter the most holy place. And really, it's a sacred place that is reserved for those priests who have been qualified. And so many single people fail to qualify those who they allow into the bedroom.
Ooh.
And once you get married, that qualification process is engaged every single day. And so before you get in the bedroom, you've got to greet your spouse in the morning with a holy kiss. You've got to ask them how they're doing. You've got to engage with them professionally. You've got to engage with them with the household responsibilities. And then you're priming the well for an amazing, satisfying sexual experience at the end of the day. You want to jump in, honey?
Oh man.
Yeah, what I was thinking about is a lot of our marriages kind of mirror our relationship with God because, how big is your God? Really, it's as big as you make him. And whenever we don't uh, be intentional about learning about God, we come to God with a list of requirements and what your needs are. And that's exactly how we approach our spouse whenever we don't understand that it's so much more than asking your spouse for specific things for them to fulfill. And honestly, we have been in the series on our podcast called Needed Conversations about identity. And one of the biggest things that we see in the couples is that it's a pull from a dry well because people don't know and understand their identity and their purpose. And therefore, they try to get it out of their spouse. And then they say, well, I'm disappointed. I'm not happy because I'm not getting this from this person. But truly, the only person that can fill your well is God. And then out of that overflow, you can serve in your marriage. And so I think that we have to, make sure that we set the priority of having a relationship with God where he pours into us so that we're able to serve our spouse. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. They want to hear, how can this person make me happy? But really, marriage is you serving your spouse. And if both individuals can come to that conclusion that I am here to serve, you can never outgive. If the more you give, the more you will receive. But if you withhold, then you withhold the more blessing that you can receive in this marriage.
Absolutely. And I wrote down something that you said, how marriage mirrors our relationship with God. And God is all about relationship. And, relationships right now are going through such a difficult time. We live in a time when, in a lot of cases, divorce is at an all-time high, separation is at an all-time high. People are just going through times where it's just hard to get along, not understanding that there are principles that they can apply. Those principles you guys are actually going to share, and that's where the power is in those principles. And the things that I've already heard is enough to let people know that this is why you have to invest in relationships. It's the most important aspect of your life. We have a relationship with God, we have a relationship with ourselves, we have a relationship with our spouse, we have relationships on different levels. And every one of those relationships are important because when we bring our relationships into order, now we position ourselves for a victorious, successful, blessed year. And that's why it's going to be important that people that are listening, you want to show up for this. Now, let me ask a question before I let you guys continue to share your insight and your information. What is or what are your relationships worth to you? Are they worth any level of investment? Well, the level of insight, information, revelation, and even prophecy that you're going to receive at LoveStyle 2023, it's only $100 to register. Why? Because anything that people pay for, they're interested in. And giving good information out for free, folk take it, and a lot of times they don't apply it. I want people to apply what they hear. And there's nothing that will get your attention than where you place your treasure. When you put that treasure in your relationships and you hear what is going to be spoken, what's going to be taught, the revelation that's going to come forth, it will put you on the road to the most successful year of your life and years to come because you have invested in the thing that is most important to God. It's relationships. That's why Jesus came, that we might have a relationship with the Father. Ryan, share some more of that insight, man, because I like this idea that you just shared, that intimacy is really not just about sex, it's about knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And you know what you were saying there is important because it's about investment. Every relationship, if it's going to thrive, there's a couple things that it's going to require. It's going to require time. It's going to require focus, and it's going to require money, an investment. Yes, money. Think about the dating process. Think about how much you spent on dates going out. And now you may not even remember the last time you went out on a date if you're watching out there. But every relationship requires investment if it's going to thrive. And if you pay attention. And so you have to invest in an event like this because the world depends on it. Your family depends on it. Marriage is the most important institution that exists. And you say, well, what about the church? Well, the church was created from the blueprints of marriage, right? Wow. And marriage is the engine of every society. So if we aren't intentional about putting traditional marriage front and center, our nation is going to collapse. Wow. And statistics back this up as well. But as it relates to, intentional intimacy and intimacy being knowledge, every seasonal shift that goes on in your life, and how do you know when a seasonal shift happens? A loved one passes away, a parent, a child, you lose a job, you purposefully decide to leave a job for another one, you step away from a career to pursue entrepreneurship, you move from one city to another. Immediately your season shifts and something about you becomes different. And if you aren't intentional about relearning your spouse in the new season that both of you have entered into, you'll eventually grow apart. And so no matter where you are in your life, you may have just experienced a loss. Now is the time to invest in your marriage. You may have just changed careers and you're at a high. You've gotten promoted and you're making more than you've ever made in your entire life. But that in and of itself as a good thing can be the thing that erodes the foundation of your marriage. You've got to invest your time, your energy, and your intention. When my wife became a mother, something different came out of her that I'd never seen before. We got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And the woman that I married is completely different now that we've had children. I see her in a new light. her needs are different. Sexually, things change in the relationship, and you've got to become aware of that. The way that you are with your spouse on your honeymoon is vastly different 10 years in or after children, or, life happens. You have to study them again and say, babe, what do you like now? What are your needs? What are the allocation of our household responsibilities working for you? I hope that makes sense, Pastor Tomlinson.
Yeah. Ryan, that's good because, this word intentional actually means I'm doing this for a purpose according to the mission that I have been given concerning my spouse. And every marriage, I think you guys have a program. Is it Marriage with a Mission?
We have that. Yeah. Marriage with a Mission is a workshop we do for sure.
Yeah. And that speaks to intentionality, the idea of marriage with a mission. And what we want, here's the thing. I have this belief, and I believe it to be a biblical belief, that God wants to visit homes. We don't just have to thank God for church, thank God for ministry, but what the greatest experience that any relationship can have is when God visits your house, and he visits those homes that take the marriage and family institution seriously enough to apply the principles that he has laid out for us in his word. And when we share this information, this revelation, this insight that you guys are talking about right now, about intentional intimacy, this is when we're going to begin to set the stage for God to do something on a family note, on a personal level. And I believe the transformation is going to be more in these latter days in homes than it will be at public gatherings.
Yes.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, I always say, marriage is your first ministry. We oftentimes are so quick to go outside and minister to those who are out there, but our families are a mess. But honestly, if we can get our root system and our foundation right, then we are more so supported to go out into the world and make disciples. Our first mandate to make disciples is for our children. We don't forsake our children for the sake of the ministry to other people. We want our children to participate in that mandate as well. And since we're talking about knowledge, darkness is ignorance, is you not knowing. And what I love about events like this, where you invest your money and you invest your time, and you're not on Facebook Live where you can jump on and off, but you're intentional with sitting with your spouse and hearing information that you may not have even heard before, and you could have been married for 30, 40 years and never applied it. And that is what's going to bring transformation, because it will become revelation to you. So many couples that we talk to, a lot of times they'll just start crying because they were never taught that way. They were brought up a certain way. And it's like we step into marriage and people assume, if you're a Christian, or believer, you're supposed to have a perfect marriage. And the truth is, we all have struggles. We all have our thorn in our flesh. And how we come into unity is us stepping into a room with other couples and other people and say, I struggle in this area. And somebody else say, well, I struggled in this area, and this is my strategy, and this is how I have overcome. So just for the sheer fact of you showing up and being in that kind of room and sitting with your spouse and having those discussions and hearing other people's stories is what's going to give you the blueprint and the strategies that you need to overcome the certain challenges that you may be facing during the season.
That word strategy is so important, because as I was saying earlier, there's so many people that want to change statuses. For instance, single people want to be married. There are married people that want to be single again. There are people that have gone through divorce and they want to take another look at how they're going to go about having a relationship that's viable. Well, one of the things that I believe, and this is a part of what we're going to be dealing with, is that we need to find the right strategy for whatever status we are in at the moment. If the status is single, God doesn't want you trying to change status just for the sake of saying I'm married now. He wants to, first of all, give you a strategy for your singleness. Then when you're married, a strategy for your marriage. And then if you've gone through divorce, regardless of how many times, even a strategy for how to deal with divorce and then remarriage. All of these things are going to be dealt with at LoveStyle 2023. And that's why we're excited about it, because so many people are going to be helped. So many people are going to come into function. And I think you mentioned it earlier, Ryan, that what is going on, or Victoria, you said that this is information that people just don't get on a daily basis. But thank God they're about to receive it in the comfort of their home.
Yes.
Just go ahead and join us that evening. Dr. Cindy Trim Tomlinson and myself, we're going to be giving you some insight, information, revelation. And then that morning, here come the Coles with intentional intimacy. And then, of course, we've got Marcus and Dominique Gill, a powerful couple, just like what we're seeing right here. And they're going to, deal with securing the relationship. How do you have a secure relationship on all levels? It's possible. So the exciting news is we are ready. But what's even better is that people recognize that something great is about to happen. We need you to register right now. If you look in the chat box, all of the registration information is there. Eveningbright.com, LoveStyle 2023. Listen, Ryan and Victoria, I cannot wait to hear how you guys are going to present this. What I've heard already concerning intimacy being more than sex, it's actual knowledge, and how marriage is a mirror of our relationship with God. And that's scripture right there. I know that to be true for myself. So the whole issue of the kingdom is actually connected to relationships. I want to give you guys to at least just make some closing statements, and we're going to share some more information on how people can join us. But you need to register now, especially if you are single. I said it earlier. Put your status on the back burner and let's get with a strategy so that regardless of your status, God's going to give you success, and you're going to need relationships in the right place in order to be successful in this brand new year of 2023. Ryan, tell us what's on your mind right now before we go out of here.
Yeah, I just want to give those listeners out there a little sneak peek of what we're going to be talking about at our session. We're going to be talking about, as Bishop says, intentional intimacy. And in our book called Spicy Sex, we call it also intense intimacy.
I want to see that cover. Do you have that book nearby?
I do, right here. Yeah.
Hold it up. Spicy Sex?
Yeah, so it's red. And out of all the books on our book tables, it's the men that come and they're like, I'll take that one right there. And then we are able to pad in a little bit more. We've had women come up and said, my husband hasn't read a book in years, but he read this book from cover to cover. And you know what? All of the juicy details of what people want, because they want to know what can and can we not do in the bedroom? How do we make it more pleasurable? We answer that in chapter 1. But it's a hook. It's a hook so that you can read the rest of the book where we deal with sex being supernatural, prophetic. Sex activates this prophetic partnership between you and your spouse. But how do you intentionally cultivate a good sex life with your spouse? Well, we're going to be talking about that.
Hey, hold that book up again. Hold that book
LoveStyle.
up again. I want them to see the cover of that book. Where can they find this?
You can go to moremostforever.com. In fact, you see it on the screen right here. Follow us on Instagram. Which way am I? At moremostforever.
No, it's the other way.
It's mirrored.
No, it's mirrored, yeah.
Yeah, well, what we're going to do.
It's actually available in the ebook version, so you can download it tonight and
Yeah.
start reading it tonight.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is, one thing I heard about spice in anything is that it preserves it.
Yeah.
Spice it preserves things. So it ought to work in marriage for sure. And we've got it right here in our chat box, in our chat room. And guys, we want you all to go out and check that out. Give you a bit of a preview. they're already helping us out just by sharing that material with us. And we are looking forward. So, listen, how much are your relationships worth to you? Ask yourself that question. And how much better would your life be if your relationships were pleasant and not so much a problem? Well, that's what we're aiming for. We want you to experience a pleasant, successful, blessed, prosperous, healing, intimate relationship, specifically in your marriage and across the board in every meaningful relationship that you have. So, by all means, register now. Go to my Facebook page, go to my Instagram page. You'll see everything there. And we're going to keep you abreast of all of the information. I'll be, and you see everything right there on the screen. Listen, do this for yourself. Make sure you secure your relationships. I'm looking forward. We've got some guests coming up later on, and it's going to be Marcus and Dominique Gill. And man, they're going to share some things with us also. But right now, the place has been lit by Ryan and Viktoriya Cole. Man, Pastor Ryan, Viktoriya, thank you guys for taking time to join us. And we want everybody to do exactly what we have been asking you to do. Invest into your relationship. Join us from the comfort of your home. So snuggle up together. It's going to be close to Valentine's Day, weekend, or whatever the case may be. So we want to be your pre-Valentine's program to give you some spice for Valentine's celebration. So by all means, we're looking forward to having you to join us. LoveStyle 2023. It is going to be awesome. Hey guys, thanks again for joining us. And I'll look forward to hearing from you live and in person, February the 10th and the 11th. You got to be with us. You guys have a good night. We'll see you next time.
See ya.